Hello, everyone. I'm Sha, the writing and research half of the Tales and Oracle of 11. Some of you may know me as Little Cat on this channel. Those who are new, hello, 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 and I hope you're having a great week, month, year, and beyond. This is part two of the conversation I had with Lala, and I'm delighted to have you listen in for the continuation. I know it's been a good long while, but it is worth it. I'm pretty sure I've cut enough content to make a part three, and if people are super interested in the uncut version, a full 2 hours and 30 minutes of talking, let me know. We'll come up with something. If you want to rewatch part one, I'll have it linked in the description box as well as all other related content. As per usual, here is Lala Berekai, our artist from Timor-Lorosa'e. How's the homegrown movement to collate Timor-Lorosae's oral history and myth weaving? How is that coming along?
What I've seen recently, when I part of, when I started my art career officially, I always wanted to implement my culture in every form. Whenever I had got the chance to work on, whenever I work on animation or comics or everything, I always have wanted to have the opportunity to showcase my my culture in every way.
Mm-hmm.
So um, when I started there, I wanted to associate with some, I don't know, I wanted to take part of some associations here in Portugal because, it's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally in Timor, but, far away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some events that when I started, East Timor was particularly young country, yeah, young than 20 years old. So the um, the spread of our culture and the how do you say, to get our culture known, was very prominent in that era.
Mm-hmm.
So there was many foundations involved. One of them was Fundação Oriente.
Mm-hmm.
So they used to invite on special events, yearly events like whenever Portugal gathered the ex colonies to. We have a name for that is CPLP, the Comunidade all the communities that speak Portuguese,
Uh-huh.
and we have a day yearly to celebrate that. So they used to, invite some Timorese artists, and all the Timorese artists that I know of back then, they were older than me, and
Mm-hmm.
they had some, some experience, even even before independence. They spread out the culture by their art, and
Mm-hmm.
my art is not um, well, since I grew up in Portugal, it's not like Timorese art at all.
Uh-huh.
From the, I couldn't relate to Timorese back then, and the artists.
Uh-huh.
So it was very difficult for me as a Luso Timorese from Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
to join the causes here in Portugal, the worry about East Timor, and almost like it's not about our history or what has been lost. It's always about our struggle or the invasion or how we became independent, but none of the organization here in Portugal were interested in knowing our history, our original history, even before the colonization.
Mm.
Well, maybe because they colonized us for about 400 years.
Oh.
So yeah, we don't have many how do you say, registrations? We don't have many written history about our culture, because and we have, well, some some reports from the Portuguese back then to say our way of life, but from their perspective, uh, things about being, finding savages on the island.
Yeah,
It's some things that I've read about,
that's the
So
typical
it's all
rhetoric.
from there.
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
typical rhetoric
So
of every colonial system. Everywhere they land and take over, we're always barbarians.
yeah, we always were barbarians, and they taught us a way of living.
Oh
Even
God.
though we were, they discover us.
Oh
This
yeah.
is the rhetoric that Portugal insists to this day. I was taught in history that the colonization here in Portugal, it was the discovery from the New Worlds. We never mentioned in any way or form about colonization here. That I just read it just when I grew older, and then I learned about colonialism, and yeah, whenever when I started to research, doing my own research, and I could have seen, the sad reality of the
Mm-hmm.
discovery that they talk about. We don't have
Take your time.
organizations here in Timor to uplift
Mm-hmm.
us or to represent us. Even though recently, when I was doing the research, we had a space in the capital of Portugal, Lisbon,
Mm-hmm.
called Espaço Timor. It's called, yeah, Timor space. Timor research space kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's a house that was dedicated to Timor documents and stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
talk about and I talked to one of our the from the Timor embassy that I know, and I asked about that place, and he said that it's closed. It's already closed from, and they already closed that place. So yeah, the little that we have here in Portugal, yeah, they we don't have the investment to to spread or to talk about our culture, or saying or telling people to do the research. Or it's a very, I don't know what to say.
It's very
Even in more,
it's very disheartening, but
it's very disheartening. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just talking about it. I'm thinking and thinking. Yeah, I think we might have some, but as I'm talking, I'm seeing the reality.
I think more and more Timorese people who have been displaced will sort of want to come home. And with displacement comes professionals. Because, like it or not, when you're displaced, you are forced to become better so that you don't fail in the new country. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Which means
Um,
when Timorese people grow into adulthood, you have doctors, lawyers, scientists, amazing, amazing professionals, hopefully going back to Timor-Lorosa'e to rediscover what it means to be Timorese.
yeah, that's the biggest problem now we are facing in Timor, actually,
Mm-hmm.
about, uh, educate the youngsters to, and make them self-aware about our country and how we need them, to build our country.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen that in my time in childhood as well. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Portugal. Portugal has some kind of how how do you say it? We had a similar thing to affirmation action, like in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that affirmation action for Timorese, to help Timorese people to educate, to get access to Portuguese colleges and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
too had the access to affirmation action as well, to help the Timorese immigrants back then,
Mm-hmm.
even way before Timor was independent.
Mm-hmm.
So until this day, there's a lot of help from the Portuguese government to help young Timorese people to who wants to study abroad,
Mm-hmm.
um, mostly for the here in Portugal, to study about things that could help in our country. They but there's a problem. It's not like they want to, many people, we should be able to, at least have the will, or the, I don't know, the word for English, vocational, or the the
Like the
I don't know how
yearning,
to say English.
like when you're displaced as a
The
person
you
of a
want
specific culture.
the wish to study, the wish to study something.
Oh,
I
oh,
have
okay.
the will. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I could choose to be, choose to be artist here in Portugal. In Timor, they don't have that. I think it's a great necessity to have lawyers or some or prominent courses or roles to build our country.
Mm-hmm.
But but first we have to face the biggest problem here in Timor. It is the poverty that lies there. We are the poorest country in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever students here to study in Portugal, I can say this because I have my own family did this in the past. And are currently doing it. Whenever they finish middle school, they send them here to study. And
Mm-hmm.
whenever they finish the courses, and it is very good courses, is engineering and things that could help, or politics science and stuff like that, that could help to rebuild the country. Um, there's a flaw, a fatal flaw with that action, because whenever they finish the course, they have to return to Timor to to acknowledge that I took the course and have the job.
Mm-hmm.
But we are facing the poverty there. We don't have many, we don't have the resources to give a decent salary, or to and there's a big necessity of those students to help their family, because
Mm-hmm.
living in poverty and stuff, and they almost always give up their courses, and they pursue another way of living to support their family.
Do
Um,
they stay
more
in
yeah,
Timor-Lorosa'e or
in
do they
Timor,
leave?
no, they're going they always lead to uh, England or Ireland, and mostly Europe,
Mm-hmm.
more Europe than Asia, because of the you can work there and get money for your family,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, the access, the easy access that they have there, because there's many Timorese people already on UK and abroad, Europe, here in Portugal, not as much here in Portugal, but in the UK now.
Mm-hmm.
But their own goal is to provide for their family, that the family, they have to search elsewhere for to provide for their family, but always outside of Timor.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of those thoughts comes around when they leave Timor to study,
Mm-hmm.
funded by the government, but they never actually fix the problem.
When it comes to knowing about your country, or just coming into loving the country that you were supposed to be from, there's a certain amount of storytelling that is needed to grow that myth, to grow that love and care and yearning for something. And this is why,
Yeah,
yes, I value to a certain extent STEM and people in the social sciences, but I value arts and storytelling more, because you
I
can
agree.
move people with stories and music and art. And
Yeah,
if you move
that's
people and you create that yearning, I feel like that is way better at pulling them back home than this promise of wealth and comfort. Because after people become wealthy and comfortable, they always want to go home.
Yes, that's 100% a fact because yeah, you can take away the yearning. Yeah, they always wanted to come to go back. My father, even to this day, he always talks about going back.
Mm-hmm.
And he has, he has a house, he has a wife, he has 3 kids. We are pretty much settled, but he just he's visibly unhappy here just
Mm-hmm.
because he wants to come back, even though it's the poorest country of Asia and everything there is not good. He idealizes a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but he just wants to come to go back. Can't
Mm-hmm.
blame him really because I went there once and yeah, even though yeah I was there in 2010, so the destruction from the invasion and the war was still evident and prominent back then.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it's a very beautiful country, and I really connected to my roots there. I think it was yeah kind of a spiritual awakening there,
Mm-hmm.
really. And never thought I would bring back. And I think for the first time since 2010 till now that I'm using the knowledge and the energy that I gathered 13 years ago. Yeah, and then I'm using it now, even changing my name to Lala Berekai, even just to be close to my roots and
Mm-hmm.
to my ancestry and everything. So it's very important. This podcast is very important to me. Even though I had one, but it wasn't, the one with 15 minutes of interview or 5 minutes. I don't recall, but yeah, I appreciate it. Just even for a bit, I had so much to tell because I just kept rambling about it. So I just just put all that into my art, and I know that one day I will do something about uh, with my art and to you know I think it's gonna that's gonna sound presumptuous from my part, but I think everything that I said to you since parents being here, running away from war and everything, and all the consequences and all the coincidences, and I don't believe in coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
It led me here to be an artist and to even being a part of the project, and now I have a very important role here in Portugal to fight against racism here in Portugal alongside with a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I think my art now. I think I have it's kind of a purpose that one day I will finally uh, gonna do something with my art that will help efficiently East Timor or the Timorese people there.
You
That
found a
I'm
calling in
thought.
your art in that it can be used to showcase your culture to other people.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, I was saying that I was taught because it's a very needing for me to express myself in every way. If it is on comics or animation or whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
if I put in my head, now I'm gonna do a comic about my parents coming here to Portugal and how it's a very interesting story, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a thing I have in mind, but I didn't find, I still have some duties to attend until then. So I think there's a particular project that is waiting for me, even could it be personal or something that I'm gonna work with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I think that there's something that will, it will be it's relevant for the Timorese culture because it's coming almost extinct. as you can see, you can find anything about Timorese culture, the original, even me when I was Catholic, of course, because East Timor is 90% Catholic country,
Mm-hmm.
colonialism, and I recently, not so recently, I never, took part of it, or never felt it was right to be Catholic
Mm-hmm.
because of the, many things that shocked me with our big, even though you're Catholic, you can't, ignore, or you just some things are, embedded to you about your original culture, and it shocks it has a brutal shock between the Catholics and our original culture, and
Yeah,
my
because
culture is
you
animist.
mentioned, yeah, so you mentioned that the original Timorese culture is animist in nature and
Yes,
in religion, like this belief in
and
the spirits of nature, right?
yeah, we pray, yeah, of nature, and we pray to our ancestors, not to deities. Well, ancestors are deities. Or yeah, it's a very, it's a, yeah, almost like similar to many African countries, that even no, it's Japanese and Chinese as well. Maybe because of the influence of, we are an island that we're invaded so many times, so we have many influences. So particularly Chinese, and
Mm-hmm.
Chinese, yeah, they have a thing to do to honor the
The
how do you call it, the
ancestors is
ancestors.
the
Yeah,
justic.
and yeah, even we believe the life after death, and we honor our ancestors that way. Whenever the year of their death, we make it. We always make a ritual about it, and we kind of fuse that with Catholics that never sat well with me when I was young. It was very confusing, and yeah, that's why I now I'm just putting myself away from that, from the Catholicism, and it's very difficult when my parents are heavily Catholics. Um, so I'm just much more connected to my original culture, religion. It is called Umalulik. It's a sacred house. Yeah, that's why I'm really deeply connected now with my original ancestry and religion, and that's why my name, I changed my name to Lala as well,
Mm-hmm.
to if it's not for me, if it's not for the exterior information, or me looking and tirelessly or about my culture throughout the internet or books or whatsoever, can come with me as well, as being Timorese. So
Mm-hmm.
the more I get connected to my roots and religion, maybe I can, with my experience of being Timorese, just basically, I can, provide some, you know, and uplift my culture, and telling other Timorese people how important and how beautiful it is to be Timorese. I think I brought something from there, because they made it a ritual when to greet my father. That he fled back then. He fled from Timor 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and when we returned in 2010, it was, and we went on in August. It was exactly years ago since he left Timor, and it was it's a very curious story, a short story, because they on the village, when my father fled from the village, uh, there was a priest that was gathering children to take the children to save the children from the civil war,
Mm-hmm.
but they were, you know. Uh, they have done it secretly, just just not raise the panic
Yeah.
around the village, and to just and my father said to my grandmother that is going to do grocery for my grandmother, and you're gonna buy bread, you know. And it was ironic then when we went to 2010. I told to my father, he didn't do, but I told to my father, well, you should take the bread now to grandma,
Oh my
because you
God.
left the house to buy bread, and you come with bread and a 23-year-old child.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, he just went just to buy bread, and then fled to Portugal, and 30 years ago, and hello
Wait,
guys,
he comes back with
just
like
a very
bread.
long trip to the grocery store.
The grocery
I
store
was
was in
just,
Portugal.
please buy the bread. Yeah, there's not bread on the corners store, so
No,
Portugal
ran
was
out
the
of bread.
only way. Yeah,
Sorry, no bread.
I ran out of bread.
That is
Yeah,
wild. Did he laugh at your
yeah.
joke?
Yeah, he did, because when he talked about it, I just went to grocery store to buy some bread, and then this priest comes along, and you took me take me to the woods with the other children to save the from the civil war. And then when he mentioned bread, and then said, that you have to buy bread now.
Yeah, you have to. That's
You didn't do this trip just to come out with nothing, only with a daughter, a 23 back then, 23-year-old daughter now.
it's like,
But
Dad,
yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Dad, you have to commit to the bit.
But,
You said you were gonna leave to buy bread. You
yeah,
must come back with bread. Think about Grandma. Commit to
yeah,
the bit.
yeah. Imagine my aunts. Imagine my aunts. They see me. Yeah, but where's the bread?
Are
Where?
you the bread?
Oh, but this is my daughter. Yeah, yeah, but bread.
Wait, hold up.
Really? 30 years ago, with no bread.
Wait. So it could be said that your dad left to get some brat instead of bread. So he
Oh,
did
maybe
come back with a
it
brat.
was with the bread. I thought you mentioned this. And I was just like,
And you're like,
why you dress me like this? But then
oh, why? Father.
just with the whole little horns. Yeah. Why you dress me like this? Oh, this is not it. Oh shit.
Oh, that is such a good story.
It's
Oh,
like,
I love that story so much. Did your
yeah,
grandma
and then
know that your dad was leaving? Or was it a surprise? Because,
my grandma died.
oh,
It
I'm
was
so sorry.
another unfortunate, yeah.
Mm.
It was a long time ago. It's another story that back then, when the Timorese cause and the Indonesian invasion was pretty much hush hush.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew that Indonesia was invading Timor back then.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, nobody except American, Australia, Canada,
So,
and
so
Britain.
pretty much everybody knew about it.
Sorry for that. Yeah, story for another time.
Oh.
We didn't in Portugal. We didn't have contact whatsoever with our family back in Timor. So when the massacre occurred, the massacre Santa Cruz, the massacre from the cemetery that the Indonesian killed the pro-independence guy. Then so in there was a Australian journalist there that was able to film it all,
Mm-hmm.
the invasion and the massacre that occurred that day. And well, and somehow he got to that tape, that videotape, came to to the news, and was known worldwide. And that just then, eh, we were able to establish contact with our family. So
Mm-hmm.
1991, my parents were in Portugal since 1975. So only 1991 we were able to establish. And my grandmother was always looking for my father,
Oh.
because he was the only one that ran away from the village. All of them, they were 8. And then my father has 8 siblings. He was the only one that disappears. I mean, my grandmother always believed that he was alive. And when we were able to establish the contact with them, my grandmother died on the very year, really right before my father, knowing that my father was alive, because she was leaving just to find my father. And then she dies not knowing that she knew that he was in Portugal, but because someone told her, and well, she held to that belief. And then when we were able to establish contact, yeah, she died on 1991. And yeah, it was very my father never recovered from that, until this day. He always talked. Whenever I mention my grandmother, my voice of my father's voice starts to trembling, and always telling me about that story that he was about to establish the contact with my grandmother. My father was very attached to my grandmother, and it's very saddening. Just one more thing to mention about your question. When I went to Timor, it happened. Magical things happened there when I was there. Really, when I visit my father's village, it's right up in the mountains. They said that my grandfather, who was the it's not Liurai. I don't want to use this, but it was it's not ancient. It's it's chieftain
Like
kind
I
of the
I
village.
kind of like the word Liurai. It does mean chieftain and or king,
Yeah,
right?
more like kings, more royalty.
Okay,
So
so
it's not.
Liurai
I
is
think it's yeah,
royalty. So your granddad was more like a
more like chieftain kind of. Yeah,
like he was the big boss.
the chief of the village kind of. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
because he was buried on the sacred mountain, a mountain near the village, and was and said, "Oh, we have to visit your grandfather's camp and grave." So the whole village went with us, with me and my father. We sang, we laughed, and it was a very very fun trip. And we even the elders were singing very old songs, and with a dialect that I don't know of. And my father, I never saw my father sing, and never heard my father singing. And my father had has a beautiful voice, and he only is able to sing that way only in Timor. Here, if I ask him to sing like he sang on East Timor back then, he can't. He only sings like that in Timor. I don't know. So he even know the lyrics, and he never told us about it. It was very funny. And then when we get to the sacred mountain, we were just very loud, when very festive and everything. And then when we get there, because it was a forest in the middle of nowhere on the top of the mountain, it was very just plains, but then a very dense forest in the middle. And then we got quiet. And the trip until there was very sunny. It's very hot. But when we got there, it rained a lot. And as soon as I put my foot on the forest, it rained a lot. So much that I had to grab the leaves, the biggest,
Yeah,
yeah, just to not to drown from the rain, because it was pouring. Yes.
just a
And
makeshift
then
umbrella.
yeah, yes, umbrella, yeah, just felt like very much like Toro. and and then and then when we went there, it rained a lot, and I saw my grandfather's grave that was near. There was a a sacred house in the middle of nowhere, and we all stood under the Umalulik because they're high. As you can see on the images, it was
Mm-hmm.
very big, and all my family was, take shelter under the house, and nobody said one word, just all very quiet when we were listening to the forest. And I shit you, I'm sorry, because I was about to say I shit you not, but I saw many volts around us. I don't know if it was from the rain or something, but I felt that something else was there. So when we went, when the rain was calming down, we saw the grave, and the elders were singing, were chanting the old songs. Uh, we paid our respects, but it was a very, that's the regional Umaluli culture.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got out of the forest, the sun came out. Just the rain never happened. It just, you know, the sun suddenly came out, and we were already dried. When we went back to the village, we were dry, and we said, "Whoa, it rained a lot better. Really, it didn't rain here. How come it rained over there? It was near. Yeah, it's almost like a big cloud just on top of the forest,
Yeah, it's just
just for us.
just
Just so
very
that,
localized rain.
yeah,
That is
yeah, and then and,
magical.
and you know how. Yeah, the elders go at, oh, it's your grandfather, crying, saying their son and the
Mm-hmm.
grandchild, and is expressing with tears, and oh, okay, grandfather, but don't drown me, because it was
Yeah,
very intense
exactly.
and very pouring.
It's like I'm glad that you see me, but I don't want to see you yet. Let me have
Yeah,
another 50 years.
yeah, yeah, at least.
Oh,
It's
wild.
many magical things happen, even in my mother's side. Everything. I think I felt most connected religiously by being there. That's why I'm committed to to follow through the original culture rather than Catholic. They never said anything to me,
Mm-hmm.
and said everything when I went to Timor. That's why. And Timor, yes, you can tell about how connected you are with Umulik without being made fun of.
Having you allow me to listen to these stories, which are so near and dear to you, I feel so honored
Yeah,
to share and to be able to share this to, I hope, a lot of people. Um, but we're gonna sort of lighten the mood a little bit before we end. What are
yeah, yeah.
5 words in Tetom you want people to learn?
I almost always teach other people always the same. How you doing?
Uh
It's
huh.
diakalai,
Diakalai?
diakalai, diakalai. Oh, nicely done. Are you Timorese? Yeah,
No,
that's
I'm near.
went perfectly. Diakalai, and we respond diak. What's your name? Onya Nansa.
Onya Nansa?
Onya Naransa.
Narasa.
Onya Naransa.
Onya Narangsa.
Onya Naransa. Yeah, Onya Naransa.
Onya
How
Narangsa.
and then you say how Onya Naransa. How Onya Naransa. Yeah.
Give me one word. The first word that you knew in Tetum. Like, the first word you went, oh, I like this word.
Uh, the phrase that I like, it's from a song, is Raikala Naroma. Is the how do you say, moonlight night, so kind of. It's not literal, but what it means. Raikalang Naromang. Yeah, and I like Kalan as well. It means night. Night. I'm just translating Portuguese. Now you know both.
Thank you so much, Lala,
see
for
you.
speaking with me. We see you.
Later.
And we are going to be talking a lot offline, away from you guys,
okay.
because I have so much
Yeah,
to share.
always.
Thank you,
Yes,
everybody,
yes.
for watching.
talk.
Thank you for listening.
you.
Thank you for checking this pod out. Lala, you have been an amazing person. You will continue to be an
Thank
amazing
you.
person. I will be here with you
you
when you do
too.
release whatever it is you want to release. Everybody go follow their social. It is down in the doobly-doo. Thank you. That's it. Okay, bye.
Yes. Bye.